we've done all sorts of work as independents and realised who the people that share our values are within the states, and also we know who are our supporters outside the states. It's not so much a case of forming something new, it's actually more a case of organising something that's existed anyway, making it a bit more overt. And I think the people who aren't really in touch with Jersey politics for one reason or another will actually find it a lot easier to look at that and immediately identify what it stands for. So
have you got any existing states members? I mean, past states members are good, they can bring you credibility, but existing states members, any indicated they'd like to join you?
The thing is, existing states members who are in safe seats don't need to join a party, but what we have been encouraged by is the fact that independently they've already volunteered that there is a need for some kind of coalition in government if we're going to have any meaningful change. People working as individuals can't affect change. We've got some very hard-working states members who are not part of the party, but who essentially share our values and we share theirs, so it makes sense.
Why are there still such things as safe seats? Are any senatorial seats safe seats?
Well, it's relative, isn't it? It depends who's challenging them, but what I'm saying is that there are people who are well established, they're competent, and they will probably get re-elected. I'm saying they don't need to join a party to get re-elected because they...
But the senatorials is wide open. Anything could happen under the senatorials, couldn't it? All the seats, all 8 seats, is it going to be up for grabs? Anything could happen there, couldn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Are you going to put any... Will you be putting any candidates up, do you think, in the senatorials?
Yeah, we'd like to, yeah.
The other thing is, of course, the election which is going to take place all on the same day, all the seats, constables, senators and deputies, one huge melange of activity going on. How are you going to coordinate that? Are you going to be putting any constables up? Are you going to put senators up, deputies up? Are they all going to be sitting on separate platforms as is traditional, or you can join
I think it's
together?
about being realistic. Our primary aim for the elections is to consolidate and build on our support. So we've currently got 4 elected members. We'd like to have perhaps 8. And there's no point in expending energy in areas where we're not going to win. That may be the case in the future, but we can't realistically contest every seat. So I think
are you prepared to badge any candidates who are standing in areas and they may not be members, but you say support this candidate? Are you prepared to say that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our constitution makes reference to that. There are some elections that aren't worth contesting simply because the incumbent or a new candidate we know may not be associated with us formally, but who does share our values. For example, Deputy Mike Higgins in St Helier 3 and 4 district is not a member of the party, but we get on very well with him. We often work together with him, and we'd be delighted to see him re-elected, so there's no point whatsoever in challenging him.
But it'd be better if he was to join your party, wouldn't it?
In the long term, I'd like him to join, of course. I'd like lots of the current states members to join it in the long term, but you don't create a whole new type of politics in Jersey overnight. Transitioning to a party system will take a while. It can't just be done by us, it has to be done by those on the other side of politics as well, organising themselves.
Female representation has been a live issue. There's been a famous speaker in Jersey trying to drum up support for more women in the States, more women in politics, more women in business for that matter. A gang of 4 men at the moment. Is that going to change?
It's a matter of deep chagrin for us that we are a feminist party who don't currently have any female states members, but we do have some very promising and feasible, viable female candidates looking to contest seats, and we'll be doing whatever we can to.
Would you put your badge on female candidates just because they're female? They may not be members of your party, but they are vaguely in your area of interest.
No, I think the fundamental point for us is that they share our values, and of the people that do share our values, half of them are men, half of them are women. It's just a case of finding the ones with talent, the ones who we know have that spark in them that means they'd be a good politician, and encouraging them to go for it. And we've been approached by a couple of women who were looking to stand, who we think would make great candidates. I think
Chief Minister Gorse has undertaken to bring in outside observers for this election. Will you be campaigning for that to happen? How can you ensure that is happening?
Well, I think there's something Nick's already been asking about.
Yeah, I raised that in the States. I asked the Chief Minister, he was a bit embarrassed by it because he thought it wasn't his responsibility. It's PPC's. He looked over to...
Ozark went out to Guatemala or somewhere to make sure that their elections were run properly, so...
Well, Senator Ozark has said to me personally he supports that, so
but what are you going to make?
Member of the
You've got now until October. In fact, you haven't got till October. You really want now promised funding in place now to bring these observers over? Who's
Well,
going to do
it won't be for us to do it. It has to be done officially.
But as a
because
party, you're
as the party, of course, we'll be pushing for that.
pushing
sort of
for
thing.
it?
But it's going to be the establishment. It's going to have to be the government, the state that invites
Indeed.
these people.
Of course, you could
Commonwealth
invite them.
Parliamentary
You
Association.
could invite them independently. You could invite them as a party and say this is a first time ever election of this sort, and it's the first time ever a party has stood. You could invite the Electoral Reform Association committees, all these groups. You could invite them yourselves to make sure they come over.
I'm happy to do a letter to them and ask
Well,
them to. It'd be up
is
to
that
them whether they wanted
do you
to.
think they might do that?
If we need to, we can, but I think the most important thing is that they need to be invited officially by our government to.
Well, it'd be nice, but if they don't, this is what parties are all about: motivation, change, and reform. And this is the Reform Party.
I think the other thing which is quite promising is that we've been to conferences where we've met with other groups from Isle of Man, Gibraltar, etc., even London, etc., and we've started to form links with these people. You know, they're fellow travellers all over the British Island. I think it's nice to tap into a more general movement.
That has a familiar ring to it for me from about 40 years ago. But anyway, we'll leave it there. Nice to speak to you.